Welcome back to Spitballing Cards. In today's episode, we're talking all about news. We haven't had a good news video for a while. So the very first thing we'll kick this off with is BGS was purchased by PSA. We all know that. Well, by Collectors, who also owns PSA and SGC. And people were concerned that Collectors is going to let BGS kind of die, like it feels like how SGC has been let to die. But we've actually seen some investment into BGS, and at the Dallas Card Show, just barely, apparently, according to a bunch of sources, including Jeff Wilson, BGS was popping at the Dallas Card Show and had their best Dallas Card Show ever, even though they raised raw card prices from like $20 to $60. You can get like a raw card review where they grade it without grading it really fast, just quick look over. And now that's triple, but the lines were still like 3 hours long and they graded a bunch. So what's your thoughts on this whole BGS situation? What do you think, Phil?
I don't get it. It doesn't make much sense to me. It kind of sounds like something that was created with AI. So just my opinion.
I've only heard anecdotally, but what Scott said is true. I've heard from a number of sources that the line was packed. Usually the line is packed at the beginning, and then you get the longer it goes, the less the line grows. But it was full the entire time, and even with those high prices, and if you get the graded card review, it's no guarantee that you'll get that grade once you get it in hard encased. So yeah, it was surprising to me. I don't know if that's just some wishful thinking by people because everybody would like BGS to return to their prior glory, maybe make a few improvements along the way, especially from customer service and technology standpoint. But everybody likes there to be other choices besides PSA, even though, as you mentioned, there are now under the Collectors Universe umbrella, they are still supposedly going to be an independent service provider. But I don't know, Ty, when you talked to Jeff, was he participating in any of that? Did he get in line? Did he throw his hat in the ring for Beckett?
Jeff tried making something out of this when we talked about it on Cards on the Table last week. And I think the quote that came to mind for me, and I didn't say it at the time, is there's three kinds of lies: damn lies, and statistics. And the statistic here is, record-breaking numbers, the most RCR submissions at the Dallas Card Show to Beckett ever. Well, we didn't hear the numbers. And this was record-breaking attendance at the Dallas Card Show. So record-breaking attendance should yield record-breaking Beckett submissions as a percentage of attendance. I've been to the Dallas Card Show 3 times. It's been a while, but I've been 3 times. And what I can tell you about the dynamic at the Dallas Card Show is, and it's a good show. It's a well-run show. There's a reason why people go back every other month. They've done a really good job building it up. But the prevailing zeitgeist at the Dallas Card Show is flipper, dealer, flipper, dealer. Like everybody, every table is Groundhog Day. It's all the same stuff. It's kabooms, it's downtowns, it's like the usual. It's a lot of 90s grails. It's a lot of that type of stuff. And it's margin, quick margin. How can I get margin? I'm going over here. And the other piece of it is people who show up with freshly hit stuff from breaks or buying raw at the show to then stand for what I understand was upwards of 3 hours in line to then pay $75 for a raw card review on site. And the reason they do it is because if you take that card as an RCR with a 9.5 on it over to the next dealer, flipper, dealer, now you can ask for a 1.5 to 2x multiplier on your $700 or $1,000 or $2,000 case hit alter egos or whatever you just hit, whatever that card is. That's why they're doing it. So it's a niche ecosystem and dynamic that has nothing to do with the overall health and well-being of Beckett and whether or not people are sending their things to Beckett. I had somebody DM me today on Instagram and ask me my opinion about whether or not he should send things to Beckett because he's been hearing a lot of negative things about Beckett and how there's long lead times and there's no customer service and all of that. And that's what I've heard is the truth. I haven't sent anything to Beckett in years, not since COVID, because it was such a bad experience. If PSA is serious and they actually mean they're going to turn around Beckett like they're saying, and like Jeff, my boss, not this Jeff, believes they're going to, maybe I'll reconsider that in the future, especially if I like whatever new design aesthetic they're going to have on their slab. And so there's a lot in flux, a lot that remains to be seen. I think the situation at the Dallas Card Show was an interesting tweet from Ryan Hogue about from Nat, I think it was Nat actually, about record-breaking numbers for Beckett that didn't actually mean a whole lot other than just sort of like a, hey, look at this. There's no actual data to back it up. So there weren't even actually statistics to actually be a lie. It was just sort of a generic statement about like, things are going great. Look at us. We're being sincere about what we're doing. And maybe they are. I don't know.
Yeah, one quick thing. Now, Beckett is still in the Dallas general area, right? So it's kind of like in their backyard.
Yeah.
We've got the West Coast Card Show coming up next month, just in a few weeks, actually, the former Burbank Card Show. And typically they have corporate sponsors there as well. A lot of times they'll have TAG and PSA and BG. So I'm interested to see how that will be there.
Yeah.
If that line will be similar.
And one other thing I should say is the times it's been a few years since I've been to Dallas. The times I was there, I could be wrong about this. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I believe SGC used to offer on-site grading in addition to Beckett. So like both of them did competitively. I know you could drop off with SGC. Maybe I'm wrong about the on-site, but if that's the case too, and they're no longer there, which I don't think they are, like that's another reason why the numbers would ramp up in the favor of it. Beckett's the only option that's doing on-site anything, and you need that to add the crazy price multiplier to your, rare case hit or whatever. Like that's why the line would be long.
Makes sense.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that for jump to the next topic?
Yeah, the RCR is there's definitely always been a strong use case for that at shows like Ty brought up. And the fact that Beckett is the only company that offers something like that in today's time, and as long as I've done shows, the only company that has been doing it, the key is like how many of those are going to be converted into actual encapsulated slabs by Beckett, and how strong was that premium really, given that a lot of people just plan to submit it to PSA. People have their eyes to be able to grade cards almost as well as the RCR consistency probably. So I don't know. I think that's interesting. So I guess the record-breaking numbers for customers, not necessarily cards getting graded. Two different things. Because those customers, if they're just using it for RCR, it's like, all right. And you brought up the Texas bias too. I guess I could see that being something, and maybe collectors was planting people inside those lines too. Just kidding.
This is also the busiest time of year for sports cards, other than maybe the National. These like mid-January into mid-February, and then like late July. These are the two peak times for the year. So it's just, again, it's another factor where you're like seasonality would dictate activity.
Do you guys believe in PSA? Well, collectors pumping money into Beckett and SGC, or do you think they're just saying that? Like, do you really think they're going to revitalize those brands, or is that just them trying to prove they're not there to become a monopoly?
It could be both, right? I mean, they could have decided that they weren't going to, and then they got all the pushback, and as a way of avoiding some of that monopoly talk, they are going to actually put some money into strategic developments of either of those or both of those. So it could be a little bit of both. After seeing what they did with SGC and turning it into a boutique agency and basically alienating a huge percentage of their customers, it's hard to take them at their word on BGS, but there's a lot of intrinsic value in that Beckett name and the BGS grading company, even though it's taken a hit. Such a big hit of late. I just feel like that's more likely that they will revitalize that and find a way to incorporate that into their umbrella as another profit center.
Yeah.
Phil, any different thoughts?
I think based on some of the heat from the government on this, it's caused them to tweak their approach for the short term. I think they have to pick something that Beckett offers that makes sense to keep around now. And maybe that's a magazine, a marketplace. I think they have to continue to accept subs too for the next few years too, and pretend like they're still, a rival grading company to PSA. But I think it's all optics mostly. I think if they had it their way, they would close it down and treat it just like SGC, personally.
Do you guys have any desire to submit to Beckett?
Not right
now. Is there any use cases you can think of to submit to Beckett?
No.
Maybe thick cards.
maybe thick cards. The RCR stuff makes perfect sense to me. Like that makes perfect logical sense at a show. I could even bring my own stuff. Like here's a Paul Goldschmidt gold out of 5. That's an RCR. I mean, it's probably too rare to actually have any bump from that, honestly. But it's one of those things where if it was out of 50 of a rookie, let's say it's a Nick Kurtz 2025 Topps Chrome Update gold, that in a BGS 9.5 just lets the buyer know this card doesn't have any major issues and just makes it more liquid, right? And so that's worth waiting in line if you have a bunch of those cards. But that's the only thing I can think of.
Try to sell it at that show because you don't see too many of those RCRs listed on eBay.
Yes, that's another point.
You know? So, like, how liquid is that outside of a show, especially the day that it gets graded? You know, I know it doesn't come with a date or anything, but you don't know.
Well, the bad thing about those RCRs too, they do not stand by it. Like they say, like, yeah, it's pretty accurate, but we have every right to not grade it. Plus, I hate, my biggest pet peeve in all sports cards is when I watch people do like a story on their Instagram where they're like slamming cards down on top of each other. Like they have the cards in the grading sleeves and then they throw like a BGS case on. I'm like, guys, those sleeves aren't going to protect the card. That's the other thing with RCR. The RCRs don't protect the card. And so it's only as good as when it was first put in there. And I think that's another reason why you don't see them graded. I don't even know if eBay Authentication would take those, if they would leave them in there. I don't know. I've never seen it. So anyways, okay, next topic that I think is worth discussing is going to be about Topps Chrome Sapphire Basketball. That was a drop on Topps.com. We were discussing before we recorded this how much we expect actually was released to the public versus to breakers and other card shops. But it looks like Backyard Breaks got roughly 10% of the print run, assuming, this is assumptions, assuming that there was 5,000 boxes created, Phil. Is that what you said? And Backyard Breaks got 100 cases. And so that's 500 boxes for Backyard Breaks. And so how do we feel about Topps having a small release to the public, but then giving 10% of the print run to Backyard Breaks, which, you know, they have some interesting history, to say the least. How do we feel about that? A lot to unpack. Let's first start with the fact they're partnering with Backyard Breaks. And then we'll talk about the second part, which is giving limited release on their website.
All right, I'll go first. It wasn't just Backyard Breaks. There were a lot of breakers that had a ton of the product, and they had it before it was even came up for the EQL release because they were breaking it right away. So there's a huge percentage that went to breakers, and some are more questionable than others. Specifically with Backyard Breaks, it's just another great example of how things just pass by in the hobby. Everything that seems like such a big story, time passes, there's very little recourse. I know in that specific instance, I think they renamed one of their channels and gave that one guy an on-air suspension for a certain amount of time, but evidently it didn't affect their long-term relationship. And that, I believe, they're the biggest breaker on Whatnot, right? So they're not even under the Fanatics banner as far as breaking goes. So, you know, they're not getting, the Topps and Fanatics aren't getting the same percentage of sales that they would be getting from somebody under their own banner. Just shows how important they think their product, having their product out to all those eyes on Whatnot is. So I just think it's another reminder that business kind of trumps everything, and all of the big stories in the hobby, just as long as there's some time that passes and people stay quiet about it, it gets forgotten. For better or worse, that's the hobby now.
What do you think we could get away with, us as a group? What's like the worst thing we could do?
What have we already gotten away with?
That's true. Phil gets away with a lot of stuff. Look at him down there in the corner.
We've got a Discord server you can now sign up for.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Discord drama. Have you guys seen all that stuff on X and Reddit? And
Ryan's Cards LLC.
The biggest Discord in the hobby. People pay like $20 a month to be in there to sell cards. And he was making how much? Like 50,000, 100,000 a month?
Yeah.
And he was still asking people like privately for $50 or something. That's just what I've seen. So maybe
a lot of scandals. What could we get away with? I don't know. Maybe a massive pump and dump scheme that we could fashion and then maybe get called out on it by a couple channels.
My Billy Butler pump and dump is in progress. I got 2 more years of pumping before I dump. So
Okay, everybody get those Billy Butlers.
2 more years.
I've sold several dozen Drummonds this year, so you know.
I actually has.
I actually have been, you know.
You
collect
did
what
cause
you
a little bit of controversy with that, Teapot.
Yeah.
You're pumping and
Well,
dumping of the
that's
Yeah,
right.
those are the $20 Pistons cards, not the.
Ty
not the
is
higher.
holding up the $20 Pistons market. That's right. He got away with it too.
Got some on the wall here. I should. Anybody wants them? You know, $100 for you.
Okay. Anyway,
Listen,
any other thoughts on that before we want to
Yeah.
jump to
Yeah. So there's this Breakers program thing that they began to pilot shortly after Fanatics took over. And I believe if you were part of the program, you didn't have to be on Fanatics Live. So that's why it was unknown for a long time if Backyard was getting an allocation from Topps, and people just assumed, I don't know if Topps would do it or not. Yeah, they're probably doing it the whole time. Kept them going, even though their main focus is on Panini. Who knows? But anyways, I know some people that are not on Fanatics Live that are part of this program. Sign an NDA, keep it hush hush. So if this is truly this is really nothing new, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
That Breakers are going to get a huge percentage. This is just where it's like really transparent, like what Scott said. So 50, they did 50 breaks or 50 cases, 10 boxes each, 500 boxes divided by 5,000, 10%. Filth Bomb, somewhere similar. So it makes it quite clear where they're running their business through, and it's through Breakers. And it's strategic because they believe that gives them the most exposure, the greatest marketing, the free marketing in the case of Whatnot with Backyard. And I don't know. I mean, we could beat this to death and talk about the moral issues, but I don't see any point in replaying some of that. So would we do anything different if we were in Michael Rubin's shoes?
That's the hard part. I mean,
we're not cutthroat enough to be in his shoes. We're also not smart enough to be.
We're not there. Yeah. All right. Well, just quickly then to move to the transparency that you guys both mentioned. It was really transparent and explicit how little was left for the average collector. And I'm using average very loosely because these were priced at $999 for a box of 32 cards, which seems to me to be a crazy high price. But as predicted, it immediately, the ones that did come up on secondary markets immediately 4x'd, 5x'd. I think a lot of the sales were in the $4,000 to $5,000 range, again, for 32 cards, which is crazy. But the fact that so few people who entered the EQL, which is supposed to be the fair way for consumers to get their hands on products, to go direct to consumers, the fact that so few people got their hands on there. There's a EQL Discord, and I believe of the 970 people on there, and Neil mentioned this in one of his videos, which he covered this topic really well, only one person got it. And I entered the EQL. I know several dozen people that entered it, and none of us got it. So it kind of gives the illusion that collectors or people who want the product have a chance at it, when really they don't. The chances are so small of any individual being able to get these because of what Phil talked about before, the very clear path, the clear strategy for Topps and Fanatics to get these cards out to breakers. Disseminates them quickly, gets all that free advertising. It's not to people like me who like to keep boxes on their shelves occasionally. So it's very clear that way. But I also think that the thing that it does is next year, they'll be able to say, wow, well, look at, we offered it to the public at $9.99 and immediately it sold on the secondary market for $4,000. Well, let's charge $2,000 a box to that same small amount of people in the public, which then bumps up the prices that breakers will be able to charge for theirs. And it's kind of it's a slippery slope, because when does that come to baseball? Will it come to baseball? Will it go to football? So I just think that the whole illusion of getting the direct to consumer pipeline, which is kind of what Fanatics had promised, is really more of a direct to breakers pipeline.
Very well said, Jeff. Any other thoughts from Phil or Ty?
I want to talk about just the insanity of the price. Like this was jaw dropping to me, and you guys know, everybody who watches this regularly or market movers, that you know my ongoing theory that people aren't ready for what was coming in terms of hobby box prices for basketball and football. But this was this has been crazy, absolutely crazy. So let me find, where's the market movers tab? Okay. The most recent sales price for a hobby box on eBay was $5,143 for a hobby box that is 8 packs, 4 cards per pack, 32 cards total. And this is a product that just sold for $5,143 and is now like, this is the average $4,800. You have a couple sales, but really like $4,800 to $5,000 a box. There's one on StockX right now for a little under $4,900. And then David Adams has theirs marked up to $6K for a box. There's no more available on cardshq.com. I know the allocation was distributed across different groups and they had some breaks and had some other things. So I'm trying to like understand this. So let's look at the pack odds. Gold Sapphire to 50, 1 in 6 packs. So I guess
1 guaranteed per box.
One per box, getting a Gold Sapphire. But in order to make your money back, you pretty much need to hit Cooper Flag or Con Kneppel. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what this market anymore. Maybe a Steph Curry somehow goes for $5K at this product is costing $5K a box. I don't know. But the pack odds are short in terms of hits. 1 in 278 for a 1 of 1, those are really good odds, relatively speaking. We switch over to baseball from this last year, and it looks like it's about double that. Although, yeah, gold 1 in 9 pack
is a lot bigger. So
yeah, so it's an interesting dynamic. It's a short checklist. I guess that's why everything's gone crazy. Maybe that's how Sapphire should have been all along. Just
well,
really
this is how Sapphire was in 2019.
It is
it's very reminiscent.
Yeah, I just think that context is really important. But $5,000.
Right, you're looking at over $150 a card.
Yeah,
so
and most of them are just
very interested to see what shows up on the on eBay sales for singles.
I will say, I did the math because there are Phil. Do you know for sure there's 5,000 boxes? How do we know that?
No, somebody said in our Discord, I think.
I had heard 10,000 also, but I don't know if that's true.
If there's 5,000 boxes, you get 30 base cards per box. You basically, if you add up every single card in the product, there's 500 cards per player at 5,000 boxes made. So there's 500 Cooper Flags. If it's 10,000, then we have 1,000 Cooper Flags. If there's only 500 Cooper Flag base cards, that's not terrible, really, in some ways.
But this could be your gold. Ty Jerome. Like Ty Jerome.
You think a Ty Jerome base card is going to get you 160?
I don't even know why I didn't even know Talon Horton Tucker was still playing. I don't know why he's on this checklist.
Who's Noah Clowney? I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, there's a lot of players on here that you aren't going to get jacked.
I wouldn't call this a short checklist at 300 players in the NBA. 300 players
that's
in baseball.
Not short at all.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same as Update Sapphire, I think, with 300.
And then the regular Sapphire in baseball is 700. It's Series 1 and Series 2. It's every player.
They might have cut it
they're better off having a shorter checklist, make it 150, make it only relevant veterans and all the rookies, and add 3 more parallels. And then at least you're not hitting, whatever, Clint Capella, who, great rebounder, but nobody.
That brings you down to like the 10th man on a roster.
Dude, how is Dario Saric isn't even still in the league?
No, half these guys, they're not on the same teams that they're listed on.
So something I think about is with the singles market, and Jeff and I were talking about this last week. Like, what's the demand for on-card autographs without a patch for basketball cards? And I know we got a little bit of a taste of that already with Flagship, but I was questioning the immediate demand of these cards, and I think we've seen some strong singles sales. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I think, if anything, I think it's interesting and a win on Topps for converting so many Panini loyalists that preferred Panini over Topps. Some did. Some said Topps was boring. A lot of people said that on our video when we were slamming Panini and talking about, Topps coming over for licensed basketball and football.
So one thing though, Phil, I want to point out what the difference between Topps autographs versus Panini patch autos is. Panini's number one brand was Prism, right? In regards to like this type of card, right? We had Prism, but those were all stickers. The majority of them were stickers. So having on card is such a game changer for any sport. Imagine if those Prism cards were all on card. I imagine their demand would be significantly higher.
True.
So that's one thing.
Last episode, but it might go after this one. We talked about the SGA Optic on card auto. I think one of the reasons why that card doesn't perform well is because just the preference hierarchy is different for basketball.
But if that was a Prism card, I think it would have gone for a lot. If it was an on-card Prism Black 101, I guarantee it would have gone for a lot. His Prism base went for 200,000 for example.
True.
So I think that makes a difference. So I think if it's the flagship set, and obviously Topps historically, including back in 2000s, think of when you think of LeBron James rookie cards, you think of two cards, the Exquisite and the Topps Chrome. Those are the cards you think of. Everything else is like a secondary tier. And so I think that's how it's going to be for these players, whether that's Dynasty or they make some new set, which I hope they make Dynasty and not some new set. I think these cards are going to be important in the hierarchy much more than they would have been in the Panini regime, the Panini era.
Yeah. So, but still a lot to figure out, like the out of 5, the out of 10, where are those going to rank versus other brands?
Where's the black? Where's the red?
Is the red just going to automatically take the place of the out of 10 Prism Gold, or is it going to take a few years for that to figure itself out?
Yeah. It's exciting. In a way, it's kind of exciting, though, to see how this is all going to play out. I love having hierarchies established. Some people get rewarded. Some people who gamble, they're going to lose. So I will say, though, the cards look fantastic. Like, this card looks incredible to me. From pure aesthetics, it's a good-looking card. I've always felt that way. Look at 2018 Acuna. Great-looking card. No one can argue that. So.
Yep.
All right. And then I think we should talk about one more thing, and that is a set that we all thought was dead, and that is Stadium Club. And the reason I thought it was dead is because it's almost February. We hadn't seen 2025 Stadium Club yet, but then we had a drop recently. And so here is Stadium Club, but there's some interesting things on this checklist. First of all, I love the design this year. I actually think it's really cool. I don't know if you guys like it or don't like it, but there's no Chrome cards in this set, right? Is that what?
Yeah, there are. Oh, there's Chrome.
What was our Discord talking about with the Chromes? I missed that, Jeff. Can you fill me in?
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Chromes are usually listed on the outside of the box, like the mega box, and there was no mention of any Chromes in there. So I don't know. There are Chrome autographs, which
I don't think there's Chrome base
card. No, wait a minute. I just looked this up. I was just talking to a guy at work about this last week, and I was looking at the checklist, the box formats, and it said right on. Hold on, I'll find it.
Ty, go to the top and click
whole
checklist and do a command find function for Chrome.
That's what I'm doing.
If the Chrome autos are on card, that's a huge boon to the set because historically they've been sticker autos and the mock-ups look like they're on card.
We've had so many mock-ups where they're on card and they're not, though.
I know, but I'm just trying to think positively, Scott.
I'm being a realist over here. Sorry.
Yeah, they're going to say, just be glad you're getting the set. Our mock-ups are not what they're going to look like.
Well, I mean, they've already done this thing. It was with Topps Chrome Mega Boxes basketball. They said, look for blue X fractors. And they're like, oh, sorry, I meant actual X fractors, not blue X fractors. People were mad because they were chasing the Cooper flag color map. And then on the Topps
class action lawsuit coming on that one.
And then the Stadium Club, they said 9 Chrome cards per box on the pre-order. And now they changed it to like 2 sepia cards per box. And it's like, those aren't even the same thing.
Wait. Say that again.
So on the pre-order, it said like 9 Chrome cards per box.
That's what it said on this.
They changed it. That is not how it is. That was just
a mock-up. Promising that. Yeah.
That's
what
not
the crap.
That's not what's in the mega box. We bought them. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. I was looking at their pre-order and it definitely said Chrome, and now there's no Chrome.
There's not on the checklist. Not for base cards. So that means gold minted, gone.
Yeah, they usually allow refunds for this type of situation.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I worked in marketing in the past, and then your designers will mock something up, and then the copy gets approved, and then someone didn't read it all the way through, and so it squeaks through, and it happens.
Which happens a lot, apparently.
Don't get rid of Chrome.
Hey, maybe Ty, listen to this. Hot take here. Maybe they got rid of them because they're coming back out with the Stadium Club.
No,
I would love that.
I don't know if I would love that or not. I wanted Chrome in my boxes. I bought 2 boxes. I want Chrome.
I made money off this release because I don't pay attention to the noise. Like all this stuff doesn't matter to me. What you guys are complaining about here, the fact that they dropped an autograph versus previous years, I'm like, oh, $30 cheaper. All right, I'll buy the max, and they sold out 15 minutes in.
I actually prefer that they dropped an auto and now it's cheaper, but like,
yeah.
Still, it should be like $85.
Listen,
to be honest.
Pink, stupid. Okay, all these like sort of color saturated, like
lime green.
All this stuff can be optimized. Just put a group of our wives and those of us who care about this product in a room and ask, what do you think of the design of these cards? And we'll tell you. And as much as I love the lineage of members only and photographers proof, nobody gives a crap about those cards. They do terribly on the secondary market. Get rid of those and put Chrome back, or make photographers proof Chrome, or do something. I'm irritated. I like the Chrome parallels a lot. I'm disappointed. Thanks for ruining my night, guys.
You're welcome. If I could ruin your day every day, it's a pretty good day.
Before we go, Scott, I just do want to say that there were a lot of other people that were waiting for an announcement on Platinum Anniversary, which has been a huge hit the first couple of years. I think 2022 was the first year, 2023, and then they didn't make it in 2024, but it is back. And they may have dropped Anniversary from the title. It's just called Topps Chrome Platinum. But those cards look pretty cool, I got to say.
They look great.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't like Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary at first, but I think it fills a really needed role because it has like massive checklists. It's like
massive checklist. It's pretty inexpensive. Or it was.
Parallels, so you're getting constant numbered cards. At least the feeling of value is there, even if it's not actually there. It's fun to open.
My kids and I loved opening a couple boxes of those. I was able to pick up for cheap in 2023. So hopefully, I don't know. We'll see the price point when it comes out. It's probably going to be like $4.99 a box or something.
So here's an idea, Topps, if you listen to us. This year is your 75th anniversary. Just make a crazy cool set. Take this one and make it like way cooler. You can print so much of it. Make tons of parallels. Everybody will love it. Ty, you beat me to it. There you go. They look great. Go to that judge, please.
The judge and the
that's a really good looking card. That's sick.
This reminds me of Home Field Advantage, but way better.
Way better. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Everything about this is better than Home Field Advantage.
It doesn't look like AI generated. It looks like somebody actually took the time to throw a city in there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I've historically been tough on Platinum Anniversary, but I'm a big fan of what I've seen so far.
Yeah. So it's good to see those. And once again, they're off. They're behind on their schedule. They wanted to try to get back on a regular schedule. We're going to get 2025 products again after 2026 already comes out. I don't know, especially with baseball or with basketball and football coming. I don't expect them to catch back up anytime soon.
Well, we have a lot of big sets, Transcendent, Dynasty. All those big ones haven't even been dropped yet. So.
Omen's best presale I heard is early February. So that'll come out after Series 1, of course.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get a lot again after Series 1, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap this one up. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want more conversation, check out our Patreon. You get one extra video a week, plus you get access to our Discord where you can chat with like-minded spitballers. And in that Discord, there's a lot of really great stuff. Honestly, it's something that I use a lot more than Instagram now for my messaging because it's just better in a lot of ways. So $10 a month. If you're interested, the first 7 days is completely free. If you don't like it, you don't have to sign up. If you do like it, then stay. But we appreciate the support. Helps justify this to all of our spouses. And thank you for watching. Even if you don't sign up for Patreon, we're grateful for you. So other than that, we'll catch you guys in the next episode, and we'll see you later.